Hello friends, welcome to Daring Marina YouTube channel. Today we will be discussing about crankshaft deflection measurement. How we will measure the crankshaft deflection. Okay. Crankshaft deflection are measured by using deflection gauge. We are using deflection gauge to measure the crankshaft deflection. Okay. D by 2 and all. Webs and all. Okay. The deflection gauge, it is a dial gauge which measures the distance between adjacent web spread at different angular position of shaft. Deflection gauge, it is a dial gauge. They will measure distance between adjacent web spread at different angular position of the shaft. Dial gauge will show distance up to which stylus moved when it pressed. Dial gauge will show distance up to which the stylus moved when it is pressed. Okay. Deflection gauge is a dial gauge. They will measure distance between adjacent web spread at different angular position of shaft. Dial gauge shows distance up to which stylus moved when it is pressed. Okay. Dial gauge, deflection gauge is a dial gauge. They will measure distance between two webs, adjacent webs spread at different angular position of shaft. Okay. Dial gauge shows distance up to which stylus moved when it is pressed. Here is picture of a deflection gauge or dial gauge. Okay. The readings are there. Okay. Fix the dial gauge between punch marks of adjacent web opposite to crank pin. So we have to fit the dial gauge between the punch marks of adjacent web opposite to crank pin. Ensure that it is at half of the diameter from shaft to center to press the stylus 3 mm. We have to ensure that at the half of the diameter from shaft to center to press the stylus by 3 mm. The clockwise rotation of the needle indicates closing of web. The clockwise rotation of the needle indicates the closing of web and anti-clockwise indicates opening. Okay. Then we have to fit the dial gauge between punch marks of adjacent web opposite to crank pin. Ensure that it is at half of the diameter from shaft center to pass the stylus at 3 mm. The clockwise rotation of the needle indicates closing of the web and corresponding gauge reading is taken as negative. Okay, we have to understand that the corresponding gauge reading is taken as negative. Anti-clockwise rotation indicates opening of web and corresponding gauge reading is taken as positive. Okay, in clockwise rotation indicates closing of web, that will indicates the reading as negative value. Anti-clockwise rotation indicates opening of web and corresponding gauge reading are taken as positive value. Okay. So take the first measurement when the engine is at 30 degrees from the bottom dead center. We have to take the first measurement from the engine is at 30 degrees from the bottom dead center. Then keep the gauge close to the side of the container rod. We have to keep the gauge close to the center of the container rod and set the gauge to 0 at this position. And we have to set the gauge to 0 at this position and rotate the engine by turning gear. Okay. Rotate the engine by using turning gear. Okay. To take first measurement when the engine is at 30 degree before TDC position, and keep the gauge close to the side of the container rod and set the gauge to 0 at this position and rotate the engine by turning the gear. And stop at each quarter and take gauge reading using mirror with flexible handle. You have to stop at each quarter and take the gauge reading using mirror with flexible handle. Okay. Take the final reading near bottom dead center and container rod is now at the position opposite to the first reading. So take the final reading near bottom dead center and the container rod is now near the opposite position of the first reading, and take average of the first and last reading to get approximate bottom position. Take average of the first and last reading to get approximate bottom position. Okay. Now stop at each quarter and when we start turning using turning gear, stop at each quarter and take gauge reading using a mirror with flexible handle. Take the final reading near bottom dead center and the connection rod is now at the position opposite to first reading. Take the average of the first and last reading to get the approximate bottom position. Here we can say, using the same method, here we can see BDC 30 degree before the BDC, then each quarter we will measure it. So here means BB means bottom port, P means port side, T top dead center, S starboard, BS means bottom starboard. Okay, and repeat the procedure of each unit. Okay, so that we will measure, we can find out the crankshaft deflection measurement. Thank you.